Hi everyone, it's Lynnea for LDRS Creative, and I'm using the Trailing Hummingbird and the My Wish For You sentiments today to make a new card. These two products are new from the With Affection collection, but I'm going to be pairing them with some of the stack and collage items that are previously released from LDRS Creative. I love taking new products, mixing and matching them with previously released products, and really getting a lot out of your stash. I'm going to start with the Trailing Hummingbird 4x6 stamps, and I'm pulling out a few images that I think I'll want to use on my card. I have the little perched hummingbird, the single flower, the individual leaves, and then the tiny little single leaf as well. I'm prepping my white cardstock with some anti-static powder. Since I'm going to be blending with the layering stencils, I want to seal in the black ink. So I'll be just sprinkling on some clear embossing powder. Now in the Trailing Hummingbird layering stencils, there are 3 separate stencils. One stencil for the perched hummingbird, one for the in-flight hummingbird, and then one 6x6 stencil that's going to do all of the florals, the individual flower, that big kind of trailing flower, and then the individual leaves as well. The stencil is marked with etchings so you can easily line these up, and it's also marked with etchings telling you which kind of like of the holes go with which image. So I'm using the single flower image, the individual one, and I'm going to layer up my inks. I have 3 colors of ink. I'm starting with Banana Cream Pie for the base layer, Tangerine Dream is the middle, and then In Your Face Orange is going to be my darkest color. I used Key Lime Pie for the greenery, the leaves there, for both the double leaf and the single leaf. And now I'm bringing in that separate stencil that is going to color in my hummingbird. I have 3 different colors of blue ink. I'm starting with my lightest. This one is Marina Madness. Then I'll go on to Bali Blue, which is, your kind of traditional blue. And then I have Dark Wash Jeans, which is more of a navy blue. I'm also going to be doing some quick masking here in just a second, and I'll use Soft Kisses for the face of the hummingbird. I like bringing in a different color for the face, or sometimes even masking off for the neck of the bird, just to have a little pop of color for something different. So here I'm just taking that little piece of tape and doing some easy peasy masking. It doesn't really take much effort at all. Then this is the darkest blue color. I'm going to wipe that off, and check that out. I have all my images. I'll set them aside and I will die cut them. Now I'm going to start working on the background of my card, and this is where I'm going to bring in some of those previously released products. I started by stamping the Ledger 3x4 stamp in the center of a card panel that measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I used Alloy Hybrid ink. I'm going to keep this background monochromatic so that all of the color is focused on the hummingbird and the flower. I also have the Tracks and Treads 4x4 stamps as well as the Welcome Sunshine 4x6 stamps, and I'm going to use those to fill in my background. So all I'm doing now is just grabbing some elements, and I just like to pick one corner of my ledger and start filling in. I'm going to be using my Alloy Hybrid ink for the entire of the background, filling in with all these pieces, but I'm using my Misty for these ones here because I want to make these darker. So you're going to see me stamp them, I think I probably stamped them 4 or 5 times to really build up that color of ink. So even though I'm just using the one alloy ink pad, which is a gray color, I'm going to be able to get different variations of the color. So even for that sentiment that's at the top, that little dictionary type sentiment, I stamped that 2 or 3 times, and then I stamped the heart and those arrows even more times so that I really have a variation of color. I'm switching over for a hand block because I want this to be even lighter. And this is just kind of a scripty font. I don't even know what it says, but it's from the Tracks and Treads stamp. And I'm just going to stamp that in the center of that ledger stamp, and I'm inking up the whole stamp, and then I'm also inking up just the left and just the right parts to fill in and just make it look just like a whimsical little background. I finished it off, and now I want to add one sentiment that's going to be in a dark black ink, and this is from the My Wish For You sentiments. So I'm grabbing one and I'm going to pop that up into the top right hand corner of the ledger, and I'll stamp that with Raven Hybrid ink. I want that sentiment to stand out from the background, so that's why I stamped that in black instead of gray. I went ahead and matted that onto a black piece of cardstock and then added that onto an A2 card base. And now I'm just going to kind of play around with the arrangement of my hummingbird, the flower, and the leaves. Once I get that set the way I think I want it, I'm going to grab a piece of masking tape and I'm going to pick up the flower and the leaves all together so that I can keep that arrangement, and I'll glue those pieces together and add some foam tape at the back so that I don't mess that up. Then I added my hummingbird so it looks like he's perched on the flower, and this card is finished. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this card tutorial. All of the products I used are listed and linked in the video description below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye!